Welcome to this episode of Car Makeup. What is on my face? Great question. As of right now, only skincare, but I'm about to apply e.l.f. Liquid Halo Glow. For foundation, we're going with Super Stay 24-Hour Skin Tint by Maybelline. God, that is good. I don't know what took me so long to purchase it. For bronzer, I'm doing a Milani. This Milani cream bronzer, I have worn it every single day that I've applied makeup since I purchased it. Best $11 I've spent in a long time. I went to the Allure Best of Beauty event and Rare Beauty was there. Funny fact, I actually bought this highlighter when it was all the rage. This is their pressed this is in Mesmerize, the highlighter, the powder highlighter. I bought this full price with my own money when it first came out. And then I was playing with my son and he went like this and bonked it. And if you know anything about this highlighter, even the slightest jostle will send it into crumbles. But at the Allure Best of Beauty, they were giving it away and I clearly got one. So redemption, this is months later, maybe almost a year later, I finally re-got it. There should be insurance for makeup when you have small children, let me tell you. Then on the eyes, today I'm going to do a black wing liner because I'm wearing like a boss girl blazer. And to me, that says the bitch is back. She's going to wear a winged liner in black. That's a commitment. I love a winged liner, but I've been doing a lot of chocolate brown because it feels a little more demure. But the black with this blazer is saying, don't fuck with me. A while back, I had one of the girlies in my membership group, Highgloss, ask me, Sonia, you know what I would really love to know? What would you advise a creator do if they were starting from like 0 or 100 followers? If you were just casually using social media for personal use, right? Just enjoying the apps, no strategy, no thought process. And then one day you wake up and you decide,
I would like to give content creation a go.
Specifically beauty content creation. As you know, that is my specialty. That is going to be today's topic. What advice would I give someone starting from scratch? One thing I think is super, super important to keep in mind here is that we're going to have to give this person a backstory because the advice that I give is not formulaic. And I think that is actually one thing that helps me stand out from the crowd of other people who claim that they are mentors and coaches, is that I know that there's no one size fits all advice. There just isn't. Like, I have to know the details of your life and your circumstances. The advice that I would give somebody who is just out of college and ready to take content creation more seriously versus the advice that I would give somebody who's in their 40s and starting to take content creation more seriously is completely different. Absolutely different advice. And maybe you're wondering, like, why? Success is success. Yes, but the way that we get to success looks completely different depending on our available resources, our life experience. Fuck me. I just got this on here. No. Okay. No! I'm screaming so loud. The guy in the Rolls Royce next to me just freaked out. He's like, what? What's wrong? Well, what's wrong, sir, is that I just got skin tint on a blazer that I fucking love. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Also, this is not an area that most people see. I got most of it off. This is why we can't have nice things, Sonia. So you might be asking yourself, why? Why is it completely different advice for those two groups? Well, if you are in your 20s, you have less expenses. Maybe you don't have a full-time job yet. Maybe you still get support from your parents. You have a lot more free time to create content. You could probably spend late nights, early morning, midday creating content if you wanted to. You likely can function on a lot less sleep. Whereas someone who's maybe in their 40s, their children are somewhere between 5 to 10 years old. They maybe have multiple children. Perhaps they have a husband. They also have a full or part-time career. They just need completely different advice than somebody in their 20s. The advice that I would give somebody in their 20s who was starting content creation from scratch and just like really diving in would be to focus on creating as much content as possible and posting as quickly as possible to better learn about yourself. Somebody who's in their 20s, not to say that everyone in their 20s is lost, but I think it's a pretty common agreement. And even looking back in my own history when I was in my 20s, I wasn't lost, but I definitely didn't know who I was, right? So I definitely didn't know what my creative process was going to be. And that's something that you could absolutely learn rather quickly when you're in your 20s, is cultivating a process. Are you more creative in the mornings? Are you more creative in the evenings? Are you better with a script? Are you better winging it? That's what I'm doing right now. I knew the topic matter, but I didn't map it out what I was going to say. Some people absolutely need those bullet points of what they're going to say, and other people don't. Do you do good talking on camera, or are you someone who's really a little bit maybe more artistic and wants to set up very visually pleasing shots? You know, do you like to be dancy and bubbly and fun, or are you more of like a moody, vibey kind of gal? You know, those are all things you have to figure out, and most of the time you're figuring that out when you are younger. And when you approach things when you're a little bit older, it's different. That is one thing I would keep in mind. Depending on this person's age range, the advice that I'm going to give them is different. But here's some things that I would say are the same across any age range, any niche, anything. Number one is to set some goals for yourself that do not have to do with follower count. I don't want to see any goals that say hit 5,000 followers, not right off the bat. That is not going to benefit you. What is going to benefit you is starting some goals such as show up on Instagram and TikTok every single day for 30 days. Post Instagram stories 3 times a day for 5 days a week. Run analytics and make sure that my engagement rate is hitting an industry average or higher. Show up in my DMs and start conversations with some of my followers. These are the types of goals that you want to have when you're first starting out, no matter your age, no matter your niche or content type, because these are the building blocks. These are the foundations of being a great creator, is having the discipline to do those types of things, showing up consistently, speaking with your audience directly in DM, using different tools that Instagram and TikTok give you. So maybe it's, I'm going to go live this month 1 time a week on TikTok. I am going to use stories every day on Instagram, right? You're cultivating what it takes to be a well-rounded creator. So those would be the first things that I would set out for yourself. And again, depending on your age and your circumstances, is what those goals are going to be. For some people, especially younger people who maybe have less commitments in life right now, your goal to show up should be every day if you can. Absolutely every day. Even if you're working a job, if you don't have children or a partner yet that you have to be dedicated to every single day, that is actually a luxury in content creation. Not that people with children are hindered, but as you may know, it can be more of a struggle when you have to work around nap times and other things going on in kids' life. So I would be saying that would be your number one priority right now, is how can I cultivate consistency for me, for my lifestyle, and how can I start to better show up as a well-rounded creator from the start, not relying just on Instagram, not relying just on TikTok, but really sitting down and saying, how can I learn each platform to the best of my ability? That would be top tier number one advice. From there, my next piece of advice, and this is something that probably a lot of people can already guess, learn how to run your analytics. Get comfortable with the numbers. Please, my friends, get comfortable with the numbers and analytics, because now that you're in this testing phase and you're running all of these new types of content, you're trying different things, you're showing up consistently, you need to start to whittle down after a few months what is working. And I wouldn't say that after 1 month of doing this, you're going to have a clear-cut picture. I would say set those consistency goals and then measure every single month for 3 months. At the end of 3 months, you're going to start to see patterns. This is doing well typically on Instagram. This is doing well typically on TikTok. Oh, when I do this thing on Instagram stories, I get a lot of DMs. Oh, I noticed that when I sell this style of product, people really like it. Or when I do my outfit, people really want to know what I'm wearing. Those are all the things that you should start to take into consideration in those analytics, not just, who is following me, how many new followers do I get. Yes, that is all important, but you also really want to be analyzing the content type. How is it performing? You talking versus you not talking, you swatching, you not swatching, tutorials, quick tips. What is it that you're doing that is making an impact? And if you're hearing this and you have thought to yourself, oh, I've never done that before, and I've been doing content creation for years or more than a year, stop everything that you're doing and try this, because this is a great way to give yourself a new boost and refresh your strategy, is to really go heads down on some goals for a few months and then deeply analyze the outcome. So that would be number 2. Get very comfortable running analytics every month and being able to see, is this working or not? And it's important to look at those misses too. Like, if something did not perform well, why do you think that is? There's normally a why. It could be that it's too long of a piece of content for you. It could be that it is maybe you're putting too much information into the content and people just can't digest that many facts. There are always potential reasons, but you have to be very thoughtful in your analyzation of your own content in order to find out those reasons. Number 3 would be to start thinking about what types of brands and what types of partnerships make most sense for you, because not every brand and not every type of partnership, and there are so many types of partnerships, makes sense for everyone at the end of the day. A lot of brands are just not going to be a fit for you, or they're not going to be a fit for your audience. So the second you start getting traction, don't just take any partnership that comes along. And I know that is so much easier said than done, but you really want to be careful, especially in the beginning, about worrying too much about what you're getting gifted, what you're getting paid. Those beginning months or year should be your internship period. And I say this all the time. If you go back into my content, I talk about internship period for content creators so much. I really don't think that in the first year of creating seriously, that you should be trying to secure brand deals. I just don't think that you should. There is so much to learn. And again, this is one of those tips that goes for any age group, any demographic. It doesn't matter. That first year of learning to become a content creator, you're truly an intern. You are just cultivating the skills, learning what works with your audience, ideally studying what are the terms, terminology, deal structure, what is out there in terms of influencer marketing deals or content creation deals, and what should I be prepared for? What should I be asking for? How much are people charging? You're just collecting data, and that's exactly what you would be doing in a professional internship as well. So please don't think of it as working for free. Yes, you might connect with brands, and yes, maybe you are going to get a paid deal, and that's fantastic. But I don't want the focus to be brand deals, right? The focus should be learning in that first year. This would be my advice, honestly. I would say try to avoid getting any brand deals in that first year, because the more you're focused on brand deals, the less that you are focused on cultivating who you really are online. Because brand deals truly affect how you show up at the end of the day. And that can be super, super tricky in the long run. So, I know that's not popular advice. People want to become content creators to make money. It's part of the reason that they do it, and I get it. And I want that for you. But I also don't want that, a few years down the road, you wake up and you realize, oh, I should have done things differently. I should have built my audience differently. I should have learned how to do this differently. And you didn't, because you were so focused on securing more gifting, on showing up, at every single event and pitching and doing all of these things, that you weren't focused on how to edit better, how to do the analytics, how to connect with your community. You don't have a strong engagement rate because you were so worried about things that truly don't matter at the beginning. What matters at the beginning is learning the skills that will make you a great content creator in the long run. I originally started by saying that this was advice that was going to be best for a beauty content creator, but I'm realizing now, per usual, that the advice that I give is really great for any type of content creator. This last piece of advice I think is especially important for beauty content creators, and I think it's just something that is about the beauty industry that is so redundant that this piece of advice really rings true and is super helpful for creators who specialize in beauty. When you are first starting out, I'd like you to be very careful how many content creators within the niche that you want to be in you're following. So if you want to be in a beauty niche, how many other beauty content creators are you following? Yes. Should you be making friends and following them and trying to support each other? Yes. Does not mean that you should be in an engagement pod. I do not support those whatsoever. That would be a completely other episode on what you absolutely should not be doing. You want to be careful how many creators you follow in this niche. You should follow a few that are like goal creators, right? People who maybe are in the millions, people who can teach you something, and some that are closer to size that you are, and some that are a little bit bigger than you are, right? Because this is how we get inspiration, we move forward. But when your whole timeline, your whole FYP ends up being other beauty content creators who are talking about the exact same things that you are, you will get discouraged very quickly. And you will probably start to tell yourself, oh, I don't need to talk about that. Everybody's talking about that. What is happening in your feed is not the same as what is happening in your followers' feed. And what I find is that when you follow too many people within the same niche, you start to think that everybody's already done it before, everybody's done it better than me, everybody's getting the PR that I'm not getting, everybody was invited to an event that I wasn't invited to, and you get discouraged and you want to quit a lot more quickly than you should. Additionally, it can really crush your creativity when you are constantly seeing everybody get the same gifting and cover it in the same way. And even though you may not want to do that, you kind of end up doing it. You all emulate the same styles. And it's not because you want to be copying each other. It's literally because you've been watching each other so much that your styles and the way that you do things start to imprint on each other. And so it's very difficult then to show up and be truly creative. I barely follow anybody else who gives advice for creators. I have a handful of people who I know personally, I like their advice, and I trust them. But most of the big gurus, I do not follow. I stay away from their feeds. I really like to follow people who are completely outside of beauty. And of course, a lot of beauty people, a lot of brands, but getting outside of your niche is so helpful in getting inspired in new and creative ways. So that would be my absolute last piece of advice. Be careful who you're following. Be careful how much content that you are consuming, because the more you consume, the less you create. The lip is on, the look is complete. That is all I have for you today, but these are absolutely the top tips that I would have for anyone any age, any niche, looking to start content creation. And honestly, it's probably good advice for anyone who feels like they're stuck in a rut on their content creator journey. If you need a little boost, it's always good to return back to the basics. You have all the tips, you have all the keys to success. I'm sure you have noted that none of these are hacks. None of these had anything to do with follower count or anything that honestly a lot of other gurus and coaches might tell you to do. I am the opposite of that. I think that the building blocks, the basics, and truly getting yourself and your mindset in the right place is the most important part to finding success as a content creator. If you liked these tips and the suggestions that I gave, I'd highly recommend you check out my membership group, Highgloss. It's $35 a month. Honestly, a steal. We do 4 live sessions every month. You get direct access to me where I can answer all of your questions like this one. And I've created a ton of exclusive content that goes out directly to the group. Trend reports, content ideas, how-tos, analytics templates, just like so much stuff, and more is coming. So really now's the time to join. See you on the next one. Bye.